there's no jinx. There is no jinx. They can do it. Because you see, whenever I talk about Portugal having a genuine chance to win the World Cup, people think, oh no, it's a jinx, you're just trying to jinx them and so forth. They don't really believe that. But I'm like, no, these guys they generally have a great opportunity to say what's up. And that's because I feel they have not only the team, but the squad, which means that they can make adjustments that can change the game into their favor. And I feel that they have the personnel to say what's up, but that is going to be dependent on certain things coming through in order for them to say what's up. But this is a crew. It is a crew. It is a crew that have enough of the pieces for them to now say what's up. They have enough of the pieces for them to say what's up. But let's look at this Portuguese story, man. Eusebio. So 1966, I believe he ended up as top scorer, helped Portugal get to the World Cup semis, And for little known Portugal, and I think it took several years for them to even come anywhere close to achieving that. I think it took until 06. And that's why Eusebio is seen as one of the true greats for Portugal. Even so much so that there's a picture after Portugal won the 2016 Euros. When they were on the plane, they had like an image of Eusebio there because he's so huge and such a massive figure for them. So I think, with Eusebio putting Portugal on the map, you'd have thought that they would have maybe been much more of a force. But the issue was they had to wait a longest time before and CR7 before they got a player to be anywhere near as good as a Eusebio, because this was arguably one of the best players in the world at the time. But there was only so much that he could do by himself. There's only so much that he could do by himself to lead Portugal all the way, man. But that was really this is Portugal's first superstar, their first superstar, their first main man. And I just think that they had to wait a longest time before they would have a playoff. But you know what it is, and maybe I'll say it again. You almost say to yourself that if Eusebio was put into the 2000 team or put into this team right now, how amazing would he be? He simply didn't have the kind of quality of players around him that you now have like in the two different golden generations. And golden generation is something that we're going to talk about with Portugal, the golden generation. But shout out to your boy Eusebio, I think originally from Mozambique, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Euro 2000, one of my favorite tournaments of all time. And hey, I have the jersey, man. One of my favorite jerseys, man. You guys know that Luis Figo is one of my favorite players of all time. The guy's footballing ability was off the charts. I mean, do your YouTubes, do your Googles. This guy's dribbling ability was insane. And he could go right, he could go left. His balance was watching him run with the ball, and his balance on the ball was literally a thing of beauty. It's literally just watching grace and beauty and poetry in motion. Was just watching Figo with the ball at his feet. So that's why for me he's one of my favorite players of all time. And this was an amazing team. This was Portugal's first golden generation, because this was a very specific crew. You had your boy, you had Rui Costa, AC Milan, superb central midfielder, and I believe you had Sapinto and Japinto. So, and I think Conceição was in this team as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, my Portuguese guy. I think Sergio Conceição was here as well. I loved this team because, first of all, great kids. I loved the kids, but just the way in which it was a very good team with quality players. And unlike here, where Eusebio was the main man and he was the only guy, Figo had help. Figo had a Rui Costa. Figo had a Japinto. He had a Conceição. He had other guys around that he could really look to now say what's up. And again, you look, one of the best goals you will see, it's England against Portugal. I believe it was a group game. And when Figo, I think this guy scored from like 40 yards out. 40 yards out, smacks it, goes right into the top corner. So Figo was our freaking dude, man. So this, and a lot of people felt that Portugal could win this because they were arguably the best team at this Euros. They were arguably the best team at this Euros. So this was premium people felt this was Portugal's best chance to win their first major trophy was at this Euros tournament, man. Controversy. You see, I look at this game and I remember this game, and I said to myself that what a sad way to end it. Handball by, I think, Abel Javier, and then penalty given, Zidane scores it, and that was it, man. But you say to yourself that, I mean, if only, that's funny. Oh yeah, I think Zidane did it twice, penalty against him. You know, like if only this was maybe like determined on the pitch over penalties. Because I remember I was angry because I was like, man, it was such an amazing game. Two great, amazing teams. It just sucked that it had to be determined over penalties. Like, I mean, what a crappy way. And everyone got sent off. Figo, all of them, they go into the referee. I think there were like 3 or 4 red cards because they were pissed off. And I think if you're Portuguese, you'd be pissed off based on just like, look, man, bro, to go out like this. See, if it went out because France scored, because this was golden goal era, if it went out because it was a golden goal or penalties, is what it is. It's football. This, because of the controversy of the call and everything, like, it sucked. And it was a case of like, man, wow, this is a golden generation. They were unlucky. But it felt like, look, if they can still keep this crew, there is a World Cup to come. There's another Euros to come. They can still say what's up. So the feeling was, all right, we came close in Euro 2000, but we've staked our claim. The golden generation is here. And we have a very, very special crew. And we still have a few more tournaments in order to say what's up. And this is where things went a bit awry for Portugal. Don't know how they lost to America. I mean, World Cup 02 was a mess. The 02 World Cup was a complete and utter mess. Because you had the shock of Italy, the shock of Spain, you had the controversy with South Korea. So it was a complete and utter mess. And I think the fact that they didn't even make it through the groups, and this is a group that had America. With all due respect and everything, this is a group that had America. The fact they couldn't even make it through the groups was insane. Because actually, no, just check the results. Yeah, they lost to America 3-2. Beat Poland, but then lost to South Korea. So lost to both South Korea and America. You can say ref tag to South Korea, but based on how good they were here and just how special this team was, it was a monumental failure and a monumental disappointment that only 2 years later you couldn't come through a group that had America, Poland, and South Korea. It was a massive disappointment, and they hugely underwhelmed. But there was another chance, and this one is even more painful. This one is even more painful. At home, at the crib, on a home soil. Not only did they lose to Greece in the final, they lost to Greece twice. They lost to Greece in the groups and lost to Greece in the final. And I remember this final because in the build-up to the final, Portugal, they were flying jet planes. There was a huge, massive parade. Everyone was going crazy. And I was like, yes, you're favorites, but this is still the final. Respect your opponents. And this is a team that have already beaten you, so they know how to beat you. So, but Portugal, they just preempted the success because they just believed that, no, we're in here, we will succeed. And ultimately, they got punked by Greece, who were extremely well coached. I think it was Otto Rehhagel, the German manager who coached them. And remember, I think this was Cristiano Ronaldo who was here. And I think, do you know what was so sad about this? Because at that game was Eusebio. Much older and so forth, but Eusebio thought, man, I can actually be in the presence and see my Portugal lift this trophy on Portuguese soil. And I remember just seeing how sad he was as he was giving the medals and everything to Greece. And it was hugely sad because it was a huge disappointment. But yet again, such a talented team with the likes of a Figo, a Rui Costa, and a extremely young, talented Cristiano Ronaldo, you lost to Greece on home soil. Greece, who were seen as the whipping boys. Greece, they deserve to win. They deservedly win. But yet again, it was yet another disappointment and underwhelming. So there was the prevailing thought for Portugal was this golden generation. They failed. They failed. Some incredible individual players, some superb players. Figo is an all-time player. Rui Costa is an all-time player, but they ultimately failed because a team that talented should have at least delivered one trophy. The World Cup or a Euro. World Cup is hard, but you should have at least delivered this Euros. This one right here. This one right here. This was a massive, massive disappointment. So the notion was maybe Portugal are just cost like Netherlands. Maybe Portugal just have the Netherlands cost that they produce these talents, but they just can't say what's up. 06, they came close. They came close. They got to they got to another World Cup semi. Did it a lot better, but that man Zidane said what's up. That man Zidane said what's up. And I think that, no one was beating France. So for me, I didn't view this as a disappointment because you're going up because that's French team with Zidane were inspired. This was a French team that were very inspired and they were very, very special. So I didn't really expect much from them here in 06 because this was Zidane who was on a path. And we'll get to the whole Zidane story when we talk about France. Finally came through. It finally came through. And it's so funny how life works. This team that won in 2016 was not a golden generation. You had a Charisma who was literally on his way out. This was literally his last tournament, pretty much. I think it was in 2018. But this was just him on his way as way past his peak. Pepe, an elderly statesman. 2016, people looked at France, they looked at Germany, they looked at Italy. Nobody looked at Portugal. Because guys just felt and seemed that, Portugal, And remember, you have to keep in mind that this was 2 years after, in 2014, where they didn't even make it through the groups in the World Cup in 2014. And 2014 was where Aman Cristiano hit a one-man wall. So, this was a huge moment for Portugal. And Eder coming, because remember watching it, because that Eder goal came from nowhere. I just felt that either France win this, specifically with Cristiano out injured and so forth, either France win this or it goes to penalties. And when that Eder goal came, which was a fantastic goal, Lloris should have done better, I was like, that came out of nowhere. It came out of freaking nowhere. But Portugal, again, it's weird how it's life works. People thought, okay, the golden generation are going to win something. If the golden generation doesn't win anything, we'll not have to wait for another golden generation. And it's so crazy and how ironic how life works that it wasn't the golden generation that finally delivered a Euros. And they beat France on their home patch. It's funny how life works, man. Eder, man, priceless goal. And there we have it. Mission complete. And I think that's for a Cristiano. He succeeded where Figo failed and Eusebio failed. Because you can see that, I was one of, because again, for me, I think Portugal have had 3 truly exceptional players. Eusebio, Figo, and Cristiano. And, Figo and Eusebio, as exceptional they were, they didn't deliver anything for Portugal, which was the issue that Argentines had with Messi. But Cristiano can say that, yes, I am part of that trio of Portugal's exceptional players who actually helped my team win our first ever major trophy. So for that, he will always have a much more special legendary status than a Figo or a Eusebio. Now, for me, I feel Figo is the best player Portugal have ever produced. But what Cristiano has over them is that, yeah, you may say he may be better than me as a footballer, but bro, I delivered something that they didn't deliver. I said what's up, and that was crucial and very, very important in them, in my country winning our first major trophy. So 2018 didn't really go too well. Cavani said what's up, knocking them out, because I think for Portugal, they were like, look, man, okay, since we're defending Euro champions, let's say what's up at the World Cup. It didn't happen, bro. Cavani said what's up, knocked them out. They lost 2-1. So this is Portugal's second golden generation. Because this is a golden generation. And this is a very special crew. And I think that what Portugal have are the ingredients to win a World Cup, because they have a blend of veterans and extremely talented young players. Nuno Mendes, I think, is one of the most talented left backs out in the world right now. He is a fantastic left back. Leão, there's a reason why Chelsea are hovering over him, and he was critical in helping Milan win the Serie And people can say, oh, how good has he been out of form? I think João Felix as a footballer is an excellent talent. Because I not as a footballing talent, because I look at footballers and I just look at your technique, your footballing technique and your football brain. And I think that this guy has incredible talent that just needs to be nurtured. But I know it's talent when I see one, and João Felix is that dude. So they have them here. And I think that when you just look at that blend of young and old, these are ingredients that you need to win a World Cup. But it's not that easy. That's only the first bit there. This is the crux of the issue. This is the crux of the issue. And I like that I picked this image here. If Santos picks the right team, Portugal can win the World Cup. 100%. If he picks the right team. Because Santos has a good problem. And the good problem is you have a lot of guys to pick from. See, 2016, the team picked itself. Right now, you have quality on the pitch and you have quality on the bench. And there are games that may call for, man, yo, Otavio, what up? Yo, Felix, what up? Yo, Leah, what up? You know, all this, Andre Silva, yo, what up? Say what's up. So there are guys you can bring on that can change the course of the game because they bring something different, either in defense, in attack, or in midfield. And the Cristiano thing is this. I will never, ever, ever bet against Cristiano as a goal scorer. Never. He can no longer move out as a player. He no longer has the sharpness. He's 37 going on to 38. But I still feel like he still has an amazing football brain and an amazing goal scoring ability. So I'll never bet against him as a goal scorer. But there may be times in which Santos, this game, it either doesn't call for Cristiano, or the game or Portugal will benefit of Cristiano coming off and another player coming in and playing a faster, much more fluid game that is much more difficult for a defense to now say what's up. The fear is because Santos and Cristiano have such a close bond of 2016, and because Santos felt disrespected during the 2016 run, and him winning Euro 2016 was him sort of like he felt vindicted off of the abuse he felt from the Portuguese press. He was like, bro, I was the guy that led Portugal to our first trophy and everything. And this man, Cristiano, was here with me in the trenches. So there is a huge bond that they have based off what they had in 2016. And that could both be something beneficial to Portugal or detrimental. It will be, see, I can't predict the future. Most people will say Cristiano is a liability and holds this team back. We could get to this World Cup, and for some reason, Cristiano feels inspired, and this guy finds a way to put the ball in the back of the net. Because however the plays, at the end of the day, this game is about, can you put the ball inside the fishnet more times than anyone else? And there are a few players in history that I know who is better at finding a way of putting the ball inside the fishnet better than Cristiano Ronaldo. So all I can say is a way to be seen. But Portugal's success will come down to if Santos can make the right decisions that benefit the team. Because if he does, Portugal have a great chance of winning this World Cup. If he doesn't, that's when it gets tricky.